Hi Stampers, this is Lisa with Queen Bee Creations, and I'm here with today's live stream. We're going live in my Facebook group as well as on YouTube, and I want to welcome you. Anyone who is in the United States, be sure that you type in hashtag Prize Patrol, just like it says on the bottom of the screen there, for your chance to win today's card and maybe something extra. Sometimes I throw in something extra, but you definitely get today's card for winning our drawing at the end of this video. Again, my name is Lisa. I'm with Queen Bee Creations. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I go live every Monday at 2:30 to show you something new. And I love to try to make things easy for you. And so that's my goal today. I'm working with the Daffodil Dies because in the catalog and when they come, there's no directions. So they're not as straightforward as they could be. So I thought, since I've already figured it out, I would teach you guys, and then I'm going to make up a chart that I will include in my blog post that will label the dies to the flowers and how it all goes together. So this is the card I made for my sample, and this is using all pale papaya. Oops. And I'm actually going to change up the colors. I die cut some white and some yellows. I've got So Saffron and Daffodil Delight. And we're going to mix and match. And then I've also got, another background back here. You'll see. But anyway, we're going to play with that today. I'm really excited. Hi, Janet, Nancy, Wendy. Thank you for joining us. I love it when all my regulars show up. This is how it appears in the catalog. And so it shows you all these beautiful bouquets that are done with the dies. And then this is what they are down here. And they're not real self-explanatory, I don't think. Maybe you figured it out and maybe you didn't. But I wanted to show you how I did it. Of course, they coordinate with this stamp set. And I've got them all here. And they're kind of a mess. So you'll see that there are two dies that have the greenery bud on the end. I don't know how I would describe that, but when you're doing this small bud, you definitely want to have that green shaped that way at the end. Makes it look much more realistic. There's also two of them that have leaves, and they, the two leaves and the two bud stems go in opposite directions. So you have some that go each way, depending on what you wanted to do. Of course, like all Stampin' Up! Stamps, they do come with the dies that will cut out the stamped images themselves. So that one goes there, and this one goes here, as well as there's a butterfly that you can stamp and cut out, or you can cut this out of one color, this one out of a different color, and then this little odd piece here is the body of the butterfly. So the three together would make up your butterfly if you were just straight die cutting it. Now I did all of my flowers in solid colors. They also would look very pretty cut out of any of our papers that are variegated. Well, sort of. I have one here. This probably isn't quite the best example, but anything that is just kind of a variegated color would make great flowers, because of course flowers are not always solid all the way through. They have a little bit of variation to them. But I'm going to pull all these off. These are the daffodil pieces. Oh, and then we've got one little flower here as an accent. But let me show you the dies. Now, obviously, they show in the picture they're layered. So these solid pieces, these are going to be the bases. It's like put a puzzle together, Okay, then we have our detailed piece that's going to go over the top. So that one's going to go there, and that one's going to go there, and this one goes here. Now the one that takes this one also has this piece that's going to go underneath. And then we have our bud. So this would be cut out of one color, and this would be cut out of another if you're going about trying to do like I did with the two variegated. So you can see I have all of my solids here and all of my details here, or you can cut them all out of the same color. Depends on how you want to do it. Now, of course, I try to make things easy on myself. So I used adhesive sheet on the back because that makes these things stickers. So it makes them very easy to assemble my card and to put them together. I'm just going to pop these out. So this is So Saffron, and the other one was Daffodil Delight. And then this time I'm using Garden Green as our green. In my other example, this is Pale Papaya and Old Olive. Okay, so I'm just going to use my Take Your Pick tool. I'm using the pointy end. You can use the die brush end. The die brush end is best probably used before you pop it out of some of the dies. These ones wouldn't be a good example, but there's some where the edges are pretty thin, but there's a hole on the back side of the die. So if you roll the brush over it while the paper is still in the die, it works a little better. These ones, it doesn't do that, but always better to check. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and line these up like they are in my examples here. Did anybody order these? Do you have them? Have you tried to play with them yet? They are in our spring catalog, which is the January to June mini. That one is still live. We have announced our retirement list for the annual catalog, but the little catalog is still going for another month. So we will get a new retirement list of what's retiring out of the little book. And I don't believe this is one of them. I think this is carrying over, which is probably a good thing because there's a lot of work that goes into figuring this out and getting it all dialed in. But it's really pretty when it's together. So this is how I had it all laid out. Then all I have to do is peel back the adhesive. And like I said, that makes it all sticky. Then I can line it up on this other one. And I kind of hold it up at an angle until I'm pretty sure I've got it lined up. And then I go ahead and press down. So I'm going to do that with all of these. Now this one, there was a particular way that it goes. Yeah, that's it. So you'll notice if I try to flip it around, they don't quite line up. I mean, they look okay, but they're not quite right. So what I tend to do is look for this kind of mountain here and this mountain here. And those will line up together. Does that make sense? Oh, I should probably get this banner out of my way, huh? Remember to enter hashtag Prize Patrol for your chance to win. But I'm going to move that so you guys can see the bottom of my screen because I'll get down there eventually as we assemble these all together. Okay, now if the edges don't peel really easily, you can take your pick tool in there just till you grab it. And this works great for getting this stuff off. Okay, again, I'm looking for my little mountain on both of them. These two are exactly the same, so this will do the same thing. Then we're down to this one. So I guess you'd catch it by this one at the bottom, because obviously these are the 3 petals that go out. Okay, and then we're down to this one, and this looks really odd, I know, but what it's going to be is it's going to be the bottom of this one once it goes together. That's this piece here. But you'll see as we put it together. And I've also got next week's card made, and I did it using a new bundle out of our new annual catalog. That catalog is going to go live on May 3rd. Those of you who have purchased with me in the last year should already have your copy. If you don't, let me know. That would be an error, and I will get that corrected. I've already had reports of one of them getting lost, so it may not be you. It might be the post office. Because they did go out quite a while ago. Okay. And then for the bud, line this one up. And there we go. So now we have all of our flowers together, and we're ready to start assembling them on our card. So I'm going to bring in my other pieces. Like I said, I had cut out the stems. I didn't cut it out any leaves because I did this all with stems. I used the bow instead. You could add more leaves in here. To me, it was just a little too much. This time I'm doing a Daffodil Delight card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then I've got our inside layer, 4 inches by 5 1/4. Then for the outside, this piece was 3.5 by 4 3/4, and I dry embossed it using the gingham folder. Focus, there we go. So it's just a little something. I felt that this one, as you know, it looks okay, but it needed a little soft something, I think, back there to just give it some oomph. So I did that. And then I have these 2 pages. Now, these dies do not go with this bundle. They go with a new bundle that's coming out in the new annual catalog. But I was just so excited about these edges. So I've got this one here as a choice, or this one here. And I'm pointing these out. I'll probably point them out a lot because I think they're one of those things that gets lost in our new catalog. They are in examples of cards, but as far as they, in the catalog itself, I don't feel they're self-explanatory. This is the set of dies here. Like I said, new annual catalog, available May 3rd. So there's all these flowers, which are gorgeous, and I had them all out because it's part of next week's card. I was cutting them out of the designer series paper. Each of these dies not only fits a stamp, but it fits the flowers on our paper. So every flower has its own die. Of course, I'd have to do some spinning to make them line up right, which won't work when I'm in a hurry. But I swear, they fit all the various flowers. That one goes, oh, this one. That one goes there. And this one would go here. And then it also cuts out the leaves. So there's like those leaves there, these here, and the other flower with the stem. So those all cut out. And it uses just about all of the paper. There is like no waste, which is wonderful because they have had the dies cut out before. And there's been, some stuff in between that I've sat there and fussy cut because I wanted to use all the little pieces. And this one, there's not much waste. And you get some gorgeous flowers. And I figured this out because I was trying to figure out how they did the card on the cover of our new catalog. And it was done with the dies and the designer series papers. So, there I go down a rabbit hole again. But this set of dies is where I got these two. So these are the edges of the paper. This one's the binder paper. This one is the spiral bindings, or, coil binding, I guess you'd call it. So the dots actually does this one, and it cuts the dots and these little holes like it's been pulled out of a spiral ring binder, like it's ripped out. And there's a line on here which actually cuts a straight edge. So it cuts the circle, the little dash, and then it cut a whole piece off the edge. And then that one did this as well. It cut the little holes and then cut off anything that was hanging over. So those are two gorgeous dies that do a little something extra, but are not, I don't know, not too much. I mean, they can be used with any card you're making. And then they're doing more of these dies, which again, you're looking at that going, what does that do? This is what it does. It cuts out some holes, and then others, it only cuts out a partial. And the idea is that all these little leaves would pop up and give texture like our hydrangea dies did or do. So the little petals would lift up and then show the holes back there. And then, of course, you could, build your bouquet, over the top, and maybe it would look like it was popping out on a lattice work fence or something. I don't know. It just gives a little something in the background. So very pretty, but not self-explanatory. But we will deal with more of that with the next card I'll show you at the end. So let's go ahead and start putting this one together. Here we go. And I'm just going to set this on at an angle. And then I'm going to go ahead and take this one or this one and put it at an angle. Let's do this one because I did the other one last time. Then we would arrange our flowers. And then mine stick off the end. So there's too much. They're too long. So what I was going to do is kind of figure out where they're going to go, and then I think I'm going to cut them off at the end so that they don't hang over, if that makes sense. And I kind of want to know about how high this is going to go. So I'll show you how I use these as an example. So these two are going to go one on top of each other. And if you did not put the adhesive sheet on, you could put them together with glue dots or any adhesive you have. But I'm going to do those two flat to one another. And then I'm actually going to put this one on with a dimensional. Now it does have adhesive sheet. I'm not going to bother with it. I'm going to go ahead and just pop it up. So that's going to be one of our flowers. And then I'm going to want the stem underneath it. So I'm going to go ahead and let that one stick. Oh, come on. All this stuff works better off camera, I promise. There we go. Okay. So there is flower number 1. Like I said, I think it's a little long. I'm going to go ahead and trim it. Then we're going to be ready for our next one. And then again, I'm going to pop up the center. And then I have this last one, which is going to be my little bud, which could go kind of either way. But it's going to go underneath. So I'm going to set the stem part over the flower. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and let it stick, but I'm going to cut this one off short again. And then I'm going to put a bow in the middle. So this time I'm going to use this ribbon, which got a hold of something. So I'm going to bring in the bow maker tool. And so I'm going to make kind of I always call it a cancer ribbon, but just a drape over in the front. And then I'm going to feed it through the 2 poles and then pull it up and over. And then I'm going to tie a knot. Now, sometimes if the ribbon is thick, you'll want to fold this over as you bring it over, and it will fold it in half in the front. With these little ribbons, it doesn't really make much difference, but it makes a huge difference when you're working with some wider ribbons. So just a little tip. And then again, if you want the tails to go straight out, you're going to pull straight. If you want them to hang down, we're going to pull down as we pull it off and start just tweaking it a little bit. And then that's going to go right there. So that's today's card. And this isn't looking quite right to me. I'm probably going to mess with it some more just because I'm on camera. You know, usually they're perfect without much tweaking, but it's going to go there. And I'll put it on with glue dots. I usually put them underneath the loops. And then if I want the stems, or, you know, the flags, whatever you call these tails, to stay put, if they're not, you know, hanging properly, I will put another one under the tails. Oh, and then I did sequins on this one, but for the new one, I'm going to use our new gems. These are, again, in the new annual catalog. They're part of that suite that we've been playing with, and I just love them. So there's our card. Then we would put an inside in. So that's where I have the 4" by 5 1/4. And I'm going to bring in our stamp set. Now, I don't have my mom anymore. She's been gone for many, many, many years, but somebody did ask me to do a Mother's Day card. Okay, so I'm trying to line it up on my grid paper so that the words are straight and then my block is straight, to hopefully give me a straight sentiment when I stamp. And let's see, we used garden green and daffodil. Okay. And then I just usually try to give the butterfly a little bit of movement. You don't have to do this part. I just think it's kind of fun. And then this one I'm letting hang off the edge. Let's see. So I'm just doing a mix of the light and dark. I can overlap the two, and I want to make small little circles or make sure they're good and wet where the two colors are overlapping. That's what helps them blend. If they look like they're not blending, they're probably not wet enough. So just keep on adding color. And then right here, I went a little bit out of the lines. It's not bad. You can hardly see it, but I did go outside the lines. And what you would do to kind of fix that is you take our color lifter, and I'm going to start away from the flower and work my way in. And so as I push it that direction, it's no longer outside the lines. So just a quick little tip about fixing it. And like I said, stick around. I do have next week's card, and I'm almost done with this one. Another thing you can do with the color lifter is you can lighten the very center of something to look like an accent or a highlight on something, like the edge of a balloon or somewhere where the light hits. The color lifter is great for that too. So, I mean, it looks like nothing, but it is very helpful once you know what it is and how to work with it. Okay, not quite blended, but I'm going to go ahead and leave that so that I'm not holding you up too long, because I know you want to see the finished card and then see what we're doing next week. And again, remember, if you have any requests, if you've seen something in the catalog that you want to know how it works, or you want me to make a certain card you saw on Pinterest, definitely send me ideas. I'm always scrambling for ideas on what to make for you guys. And if it's something you actually want to see, that's even better. So there's today's cards using the Daffodil Dies. And next week, as I promised, we're going to work with that new bundle. And of course, we're doing a fancy fold. So this is it. Oops. So I cut these out of the paper as I showed you. And then the card opens like that. So it's a great way to give a little something extra. It's not very hard. And it showcases the gorgeous designer series paper, which is what I wanted to do for next week. So thank you for joining me. Again, everything I use is Stampin' Up related and can be found in my online store. I appreciate those of you who shop with me. And I always give you a customer appreciation PDF of the month for any orders over $30. So keep an eye out for that when you place your orders. And I thank you for joining me. And I will see you right back here next Monday at 2:30. Oh, and let me do our drawing. I almost forgot that again. I have a tendency to do that. Okay, so here is our prize patrol drawing. We have 6 entries. Does anybody else want to put in prize patrol last minute before I spin? It's like there's 9 people online, and I have 6 entries. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and spin. There we go. Janet Wilson is our winner. So congratulations, Janet. Keep an eye out in the mailbox for your card. If I don't have your address, please make sure that I get it. I do have a claim form. You can go online and put your address in that, and I will know to send you your prize to that address. So again, thanks for joining me. Congratulations, Janet, and I will see you all next week. Thanks for joining me. Bye.